All right, here we go. Please subscribe to the channel. Please.
Hey guys, YouTube's got an algorithm and it really help us out a lot if you could like, comment, and subscribe. This is how we can get more information out to more people and share the message of Toronto real estate.
In
Thanks.
that order, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the damn bell. So hold on, what else do I need? Market watch? This? I, th-
Uh-huh.
I think we're ready to go.
I think we're good.
I
I
think
think no matter
we are
what, we always
ready
make it good.
to go.
Mhm.
Mr. TK, welcome to another stats show.
Hey, all right, that time of month again. You know what I was thinking? Why don't we need to get a theme song?
For the
If we had a
stat
theme
show.
song for the stat show, I think it would be way better for the brand. What do you
So
think?
I think it would be a good idea. I think
Yeah.
so
Well, should we write the song or like should we just steal it?
would it be confusing if there was a new song before this episode now and then we had this conversation?
I don't know, but maybe by like next stat show in April or for April in May, we'll come up with one. What do you think?
I think it sounds to me like the same we that my wife always talks about.
The committee. Let's bring it to the committee.
By we, I
Yeah.
think you are saying me. Wink, wink. All right, I gotcha. Well, I can commit to that.
Okay.
I can
Cool.
commit to that.
You're good at picking songs.
We're gonna have a
So what
new
happened?
song.
Was there any sales? Was there any sales in March 2021 this year?
Not compared to last year.
Was there any sales? Oh my gosh.
Well,
It's not like we doubled the sales from last year or
but we
anything.
talked about this a couple of months ago, or by we. This is
Yeah.
the real we. I said a couple of months ago that there's no way
Okay.
we can trust the stats that are going to come out, or at least compare them to a year previous for the next few months, right? Because
Not a chance.
they were pretty crazy. So,
Yep.
in the past, what I have done is complained about how we look at stats, that I never understand that we look at them on a year over year basis, because generally they might be similar year over year, but years are not the same, and things that happen in those years are not the same. And it's really stupid because what the hell do I care
Who cares?
what happened a year ago versus now? I want to know which way the thing is heading, right? And I want to know
Exactly.
with what kind of steam the thing is heading. So I
Yes.
have a surprise.
Tell me more. So, what did happen last month?
There were a lot of sales.
There were a lot of sales.
There were
They
a
were
lot of
booming.
sales.
Those sales were booming.
How about I put this up on the screen?
Sure. What do you got?
Now, can I do it in the right way so that everybody can
Well,
see
tell me, what are you
this?
looking at? Are you looking at the first page of the Market Watch, or what are you doing?
Toronto home sales increased by 97% in March. Trev.
Whoa! What a headline.
That is a grabber. No, I want to put this up on the screen. Bear with me.
Okay.
You know
Yep.
that we are
I'm on that page.
technologically savvy here at the Toronto Real Estate Show. So here we go.
Yes.
The Treb Market Watch February or February, depending on where you
March
were
2021. You got the wrong one.
Did I open the wrong one?
Yeah, that was last month's. But the March 2021 Market
Oh,
Watch, which was the
yeah.
one that we're doing,
That would be
that was the
good.
interns for sure.
Sorry.
Basically, the Toronto Real Estate Board reported 15,652 sales in the month of March, which is 97% higher than it was a year ago from March 2020. But they did put the little caveat in there that the first 14 days of March, it was actually only up 41%. Like that was some low number not to brag and write home about. And the second half of March, which is compared to the shut down economy from the last half of March 2020, it was up 174%. Duh.
Nuts. Nuts.
Yeah.
But like again, it's a stupid comparison. And now my surprise is ruined because I didn't pull up March. So why don't I
It's
have
okay.
March though?
I'll act surprised when you do it.
I
So
will
let's just
have a
focus on sales.
wonderful surprise for you next month because I
Let's
don't
just focus on
have
sales.
March. You didn't send me March.
Okay. Well, if you go to that second email that I gave you, which was the archive, you should be able to get it from there.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
I'll present then, since one of us is on the ball today.
Well, I
We are
appreciate
on
that
the
you're
ball
on the ball.
today.
Here, you share your screen.
We
Can you do that?
No, because I'm not the host.
I just gave you
So,
permission. Do it.
oh, share screen. Ta-da!
No, I can't see. Oh, there we go. And
Good.
it's working.
All right, Daryl,
I'm here.
back on track.
Look at us.
So those sales, right? So 15,652 sales. This is not just a really good month of March. This is not just like a good point in the year. This is not just really great compared to last year. This is like the best freaking month to ever happen in the Toronto Real Estate Board ever. This is
Ever.
this is a huge number, 15,000 sales. We were talking, like last month at 10,000. I thought, well, that's going to be pretty hot. But even in the hotter markets of early 2017 and 16, they weren't hitting these numbers. So this is a huge, huge, huge growth in demand, because this is not just a bunch of people want to move. Like, a bunch of people are thinking that they want to sell. Sure, there's lots of houses out there. We've got, tons of new listings. That's probably a record for new listings too, 22,000. But 15,000 people said,
Hold on.
hey,
Hold
I'm going to
on.
buy a house in the Toronto Real Estate Board boundaries this month.
Well, okay. So new listings is fantastic. Oops. Last
Hmm.
month we had how many active listings? 8,700. We had 8,700. So now we have not even 3,000 more listings and a bajillion more sales. Okay. So
Active listings.
well, who cares how many new listings there are? It's about how many active listings there always are. What's the?
Well,
I
the
mean,
active listings is more an indicator of the current market conditions. The new listings that came up is always typically going to be coinciding with the sales, because if we had that many sales, we had to have at least that many listings. I mean, theoretically, right? How else would we be selling properties if those listings didn't come up?
well, you're going
So,
into inventory.
yeah, so we had a really good uptick in listings, which is good. Typically, we would have less sales growth than we would in the new listings, because, typical markets, those new listings are coming on and people are only buying up so many of them. But obviously, the sales going up 97% year over year and the new listings only being up 57% shows that those sales far surpassed the number of new listings, which put pressure on
Prices.
prices, which is why we got to the point that we got to. Again, not just a great March, not just a great month, but the highest recorded Toronto Real Estate Board MLS average price ever, just shy of 1.1 million, 1,097,000 and $565.
So when will we hit 2 million?
Well, like, the detached house prices at 1,750,000 are going to hit 2 million. I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen in the next couple of years. Who knows where the market's going to go, but it's going to hit 2 million.
Look
Like,
at that.
that's
Average
clear.
in the 416 detached 1750.
Yeah.
Um
It's up 20%.
yeah, so millennials, Gen Zs and everybody in and around then,
Yeah.
enjoy your condo
I hope you like
forever.
living in a condo,
I hope you like a
because
condo
1.75 million is a lot of money.
or
And that's real
Belleville,
growth. Like, that's a,
Bowmanville,
yeah. I,
Georgina.
I always I always compare this to the um, home price index composite benchmark price, right? So it was up 16.5% compared to March 2020, right? So it's going to be a little bit more level because of the way that home price index is weighted. So when we're looking at average growth in the average price in obviously the whole GTA, we're at 21.6%. So last year, just to kind of like quick summary, if there were sales last March, yes, the first 2 weeks had a bunch of properties that were higher end, but the last 2 weeks of March, nobody was buying higher end properties. The higher end people with the money put the brakes on 100% and said, look, this whole thing needs to blow over before I start investing $2+ million. So that's why we've got such a huge average price growth at 21.6, but the HPI only grew 16.5, right? Just to give some context there.
The numbers are crazy. I hate looking at these year over year numbers. They literally mean absolutely nothing. More importantly now than ever, they're useless numbers. So
So
I read somewhere where they What do you got there? Oh, good. Here we go.
February. I just
Yeah.
pulled up. So this number here, 1,045,000. That was the average price in Toronto in February. So it's gone up about 5% to a million.
Crazy. 5% month over
Five
month.
percent growth in a month. Yeah,
It's
that's a great number.
unbelievable. So annualized, that is what, 60% this
60.
year?
Yeah. Yeah.
That seems like kind of, realistic and sustainable, no?
Never, not a chance. But
No.
hey,
Well,
maybe we're wrong. Maybe we don't know as much as we think we do on the Toronto Real Estate Show.
will the
But
market be allowed to do what the market wants to do? No,
never.
definitely not. This is not a market. This is a
The
sham.
the April 19th budget is coming up, right? So I'm hearing like all these rumblings today and stuff like that. I
I
don't know if we
heard
want to
about
talk
this
about that.
capital gains going up 25%. What the hell is this? I just saw a tweet by our friend Jeremiah Shamus, who's coming on the show on Sunday.
Maybe we'll save it for Sunday. Let's
That's
save it for Sunday.
probably a good idea.
Okay. Maybe that's something that we could go dive into a little bit further. But yeah, overall, I mean, the numbers aren't surprising. We've been talking about the sales. We've been talking about how many people we've seen lining up at houses. I'm in an offer presentation tonight. I was in one the other night. The last night was, I think, 7 offers.
Who's buying the
Tonight's
houses?
5 people, normal, good people who are buying houses and are interested in moving, and they have real needs. And there's definitely a lot of that fraction of speculation, like I was talking about in the show a couple weeks ago, where like the top few offers were speculators. That is a lot of the times at the higher end of the market, but it was also the type of property that I was selling. It needed a lot of work, right? So it's not the finished product that speculators are buying. The investor people who are buying second homes, or secondary homes, or investments for like flipping and whatever else that they plan on doing with it. They're buying either rental properties where you got multiple units. I got one of those coming up next week, or they're buying properties that need a lot of work. That I have another one coming up next week. The same thing, where it's like you're going to have less end users buying those type of properties. So that's why I was seeing those results. But we're talking about a bunch of local domestic end users buying properties for legitimate means. That's what's going on right now. Everybody just wants to move. That's it. And everyone has a property to sell. Not there's first time buyers, but very small percentage. Everybody's got a house to sell. I talked to my teammates and my partners that I work with. They're all facing the same struggles right now. Is we can't list their house until we find them the home that they want to buy, and everybody's just trying to compete in this market that is really hard to find value in, right? It's really hard for a buyer to say that's worth that to me.
Hard to find value in. Okay, go there. What does that mean? What does that actually mean?
Well, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is that a buyer moves into a house and that they're paying the mortgage payments and costs, monthly costs that they hope to pay, right? Because that's how mortgages are broken down, right? They're
So like
amortized
it's like
25
cars now.
plus years.
People are leasing houses basically.
In a sense, that's really the monthly payment is and should be the most important part of your decision, right? And obviously, there's other factors here. Don't That's not a blanket statement or something that
And
I would rely
should
on.
be, you said. You said and should be. You
It
threw
should
that
be.
in. That was very
No, it should
sly.
be.
Why
It
should
should
that be your
because if I gotta pay 200 grand more for a house that I don't think is worth 200 grand more, but I'm going to sell my house for 200 grand more than I think it's worth, then what are we talking about here? We're talking about the exact same amount of mortgage I'm walking into on that property, right? The exact same amount of equity. So whether I buy for 200 grand more, or buy at the price I want, as long as it's relative to the price that I sell for, the value should be there. But it's hard for people to see that because they're nervous because they're thinking, I only paid this much for my house. There's no way someone's going to pay me X. Even if they see their identical house on their street sell for that price, they still don't believe it, or they're nervous that they're going to be so fortunate to even get that price. Then when they're going to look at these homes that are more expensive, they're thinking, oh, that's crazy. 5 years ago, I saw those houses selling for this much. I don't want to go into that price bracket. It's not worth it to me. So they're at this sort of paralysis point that they're not able to make the move to get from one place to the other. But that's where, proper analysis comes in, and having, somebody that you trust give you those reassurances that, if everything stays the same, all other things be equal, as they say, you should be able to get the amount of money that you hoped for, and that we should be able to calculate a reasonable seller net expectation on the sale of your home, so that you know what you're working with.
How are the banks and appraisers doing their jobs now? Like how it, that somebody has to kind of like turn it down a little bit. Like don't the banks at some point go like, "Hold on a sec. Is this house even worth this much money? Like this is crazy. We just did a mortgage down the road, uh, you know, 8 months ago and it's for 400,000 less. What the hell? We can't give this guy the money." No, there's no.
There's a lot of factors.
Yeah,
There's
but
a lot
there's
of
no
factors.
real incentive not to lend the money.
Zero.
No. Like yeah,
Zero.
why is that
Like
a
there's
good
no high
idea?
risk. There's no high risk situations. I mean, to get a mortgage in Canada with an A lender, you're qualified. And if you got 20% down, well, guess what? The bank feels pretty comfortable that you're going to make those payments. And if not, they've got a great buffer to be able to, you know, mitigate their risks. And if you don't have 20% down, the government insures it. And they don't need to worry about you making those payments or
Right.
not. The
It's
bank's
better
getting
if
paid.
you have less money.
Right?
Nah, don't put 20.
19.99%
19.83.
pay the insurance premium.
Okay,
So
so what do we have here right now? So you're saying that it is still all, not all, but the majority, more than the majority, is local demand and users moving around
who own a
wherever the
home
hell they're
already.
going, who already own a home because, yes, the people that have been decimated are not buyers and
Yep.
they are still not buyers. They're actually, we didn't even, should we not talk about the lockdown? Round trois?
No, we'll talk
Oh,
about that on Sunday. The
Sunday,
the
everything.
this is my anecdotal response to the breakdown of the buyers out there.
The
Okay,
breakdown. Okay, yeah, there was a
75% of
question.
them, 75% of them are local end users who have a house to sell.
Local end user to have a house to sell and
Yep.
have a, okay, yeah.
Yep.
Have a
They're
house
they're
to
they're
sell,
they're
looking
moving.
for another house, moving wherever the hell they're moving.
They're
For
moving.
whatever the hell the reason
And
is.
10 to 15% are first time buyers, and 10 to 15% are investors, which includes foreign investors or anybody else.
So hold on a
So it's a
sec.
very small number.
We're in an affordability crisis here, and no locals can afford, and that's the big problem is that all the locals can't
75% of them
afford.
are locals.
But
Yeah. And I'm hearing that from like tons of different sources. That's not just like
that
on
they're
my
locals?
listings. This is from a lot of the agents that I'm talking to.
So, but then you read
And
an article, or you read, or you watch the roundtable, the post-article roundtable. Brad Lamb says that all new development is 100% investors.
pre-construction condos is a different all. Like
Yeah,
that's
and
just a
so we're
different
not
game
even
altogether.
counting any of the new stuff, which is
No, that's not part of the Toronto Real Estate Board MLS, and I'm talking about resale. That's what
this
this.
is
That's what the stat show is all about.
so. I mean, this is nuts to have this much local demand, to have the best month of all time in a pandemic because of local demand, and not to have immigration happening and borders closed and have another lockdown and probably won't even notice it in the real estate market. What
My guess is the buyers aren't just going to pack it up and say, "Oh, I'll wait for another 4 weeks because Doug Ford told me not to." And then if the prices go up, that's okay because I'm doing my part to flatten the curve.
But we
But
have to
hopefully
do
buyers.
something. We have to get this under control. We have to do something. Somebody has to do something. The banks have to do something. The central bank has to do something. The government has to do. Somebody has to do something. We can't just let this happen.
I really like the answer that Dan gave on Sunday.
Refresh my memory because I'm
At the
consumed
end,
by me all the time.
let it burn.
Let it fucking burn, right?
Yeah,
But
that was a
will
good.
it burn? It'll fire.
Doesn't
It'll.
seem like it. It
It,
seems like it's got an infinite amount of fuel,
this
right?
thing is a starship.
Yeah.
It's
So
on rocket fuel juice.
we're in a great market. We're in a great economy. We're in a great city, and the rest of the world might be struggling and stuff like that. But other than the very few, like unfortunate, but few industries that have been heavily affected by the lockdowns, it seems like most people still have their jobs and are able to pay their bills. That's what I'm seeing.
And have savings.
And they have savings. So what
What a
what causes a
crazy.
market to go down, right? You have to take away the capabilities of the buyers, and the buyers have got cheap interest rate. They got down payments. They got jobs. They're capable. They're not going anywhere at this point in
But
time.
what happens? What happens with public officials when the pressure is on and the pressure is mounting and the
Mhm.
articles are constant and consistent? Somebody must do something, and the central bank's sitting there going, "I don't see a problem. Do you see a problem? I don't see anything wrong here. We're not touching
Yeah,
the rates. We're not touching the
yeah.
rates.
One
2023, baby."
one good point that I was listening to, I think it was on YouTube, that someone had made, was it was probably a mistake to announce that they didn't plan on changing the rate for a couple years. I think that the rates being low on their own was the right decision. But I think like they always kept us in the dark. Every rate announcement, there was always some like, smoke and mirrors and this like,
No, then it was
vague
like, "Hey,
response,
we're
right?
not
To kind of
doing
just be like,
nothing.
we're not really sure what we're doing, but
Look
you'll
over
find
there.
out next month.
Look over
So
there."
now because they were so direct with it, it almost feels like they have to live up to their word now. So you
But
really
they
don't
will. They
believe that they
will. They
will change it.
will.
And two, it gives people all that false sense of stability in the mortgage interest rates, and that's the problem. Is that those interest rates will go back up to a more typical figure eventually.
Eventually, yeah. Eventually, but eventually is a while from now,
Yeah,
right?
because again, what are people worried about? Their monthly payments. So whether they got a 500 or an 800 or a $1 million mortgage in their head, they're like, I'm paying $3,000 a month, and that's okay. What happens when that changes to $4,000? That's when things can come up, but that doesn't seem like it's happening anytime soon, right?
Refi, refi.
Yep. Or at the time the market's still healthy and they can just sell and they can downsize if they feel like they're overstretching it. Or get a side hustle, house hack.
Whatever. There's a million things. Start a
Yeah,
Shopify site.
they can just rent out their basements, Airbnb, or rent out their bedrooms. Sorry,
Rent,
Airbnb.
rent out your driveway, your parking spot.
Yeah,
There's a
but you
million
need to,
ways to
you need
make
to
money.
rent a deck for a backyard afternoon party.
Not not f-
You want to have a barbecue on my deck?
not for the next month.
No, okay, just asking.
Not for the next month.
Well, this has been a great stat show. I think we should wrap it up, and maybe a song on the way out too, Daryl.
A new
The
song on the
song,
way out.
no, the same song. I think the same song would be good. So the theme song in the beginning and a theme song at the end. And if you could do a little bit of singing or guitar playing, that would be also interesting.
Should we use one of my songs?
Yeah,
There will be zero relevance to real estate, but
okay.
we
It's a good
we can
idea.
do that.
Well, no copyright issues.
Definitely no copyright issues
Awesome.
that I know of. All right. Well, that was. Thank you for putting that up on the screen. Appreciate that. That was good. I did not actually look at the March numbers, I don't think, or I don't know what the hell I did with them. I must have looked at them because I knew them, but I did not
Hey,
add them into
worked out.
my surprise.
As usual, it sounded like you knew what you were talking about.
Everyone has been fooled. All right, my friend. I will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Dale.
Happy Stats Day.